Social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective.
All right. Tell me, who does this sound like? Who does this refer to? Let me know what you think. Georgia lawmakers finally okay system to pay wrongfully convicted with Trump election case writer added. Oh, no cheating. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis announced indictments against former President Donald Trump and his allies at a press conference with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade standing to her left. The Georgia Senate approved a bill Friday that allows criminal defendants to recoup their legal costs if the prosecuting attorney in their case is disqualified for personal or professional misconduct. A description that recalls the Fulton County prosecutor who brought felony charges against President Donald Trump. Next up, Brian Kemp, the governor here in Georgia. His desk is going to be for a signature. Senate Bill 244, originally inspired by Trump's election interference case in Georgia, was later amended to revive the Wrongful Conviction Compensation Act, a stalled House bill that was aimed at providing reparations to people wrongfully incarcerated. House lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have faced an uphill battle in their efforts to properly compensate those who have been wrongfully incarcerated. The process is currently done on a case-by-case basis through individual compensation resolutions that must pass through the full legislative process like any other bill. Legislation to standardize the process was initially introduced by Atlanta Democrat Representative Scott Holcomb in 2022 and reintroduced in 2023. But his efforts have repeatedly been stalled in the Senate by Republican opposition. The version that ultimately emerged as the clock ran out on the 2025 legislative session Friday, sponsored by Alpharetta Republican Senator Brandon Beach, secured a 35-18 vote in its second pass through the Senate, with all Republicans and 3 highest-ranking Senate Democrats voting in support of the legislation. Its passage also marked the final sine die gavel for Beach, a staunch Trump ally who was recently appointed by the president to serve as a U.S. treasurer. If Governor Kemp signs the bill into law, it will allow criminal defendants to recoup their legal costs from county prosecuting attorneys' budgets in cases where the prosecutor is disqualified for personal or professional misconduct. I just got to stop right there. That is going to be a mess. If Fulton County is the one that they're, of course, we all know that this is aimed at Fani Willis. We all know that this is because of what happened with Fani Willis in Fulton County. This is going to ransack Fulton County's budget because they're going to spend the rest of their time fighting these cases. Yeah, this is going to be a mess. And you got to wonder at some point why Fani Willis has not just gone ahead and took the L, because it doesn't seem like the L is getting smaller. It seems like the L is just getting bigger and the loss is just becoming more and more pronounced. Because this bill probably would have still come out even if she had just said, hey, he's running for president, he won, let's just drop it. Or many of these little off ramps on this train that we've been on. If she just got off, sometime before, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, half a year ago, whatever, and just said, hey, we're going to go ahead and take this L, because the L is just getting worse. Let's finish up. During Trump's election interference case in Georgia, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis was disqualified after an appeals court judge found that her romantic relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade created a significant appearance of impropriety, the odor of mendacity. Separately, it will establish a new process under Georgia state law for people who have been convicted for crimes they did not commit and later exonerated, allowing administrative law judges to rule on wrongful conviction compensation cases and awarding a standardized rate of $75,000 for each year of incarceration to each exoneree Wow, that's wild. Okay, so man, that could be a lot with an additional 25K added for each year spent on death row. So somebody was wrongfully found, somebody was put in jail and found that the prosecutor was disqualified and they were on death row and they've been there for 10 years. They could easily be looking at $1 million. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, it's good that they're coming up. I didn't know there was a standard for it. So this is going to make it a standardized rather than having to make a particular, hopefully there's not many of this happening, but that's beside the point. Rather than saying, hey, this person was put in jail, we've gone through the process, they've been exonerated, let's go ahead and make a legislation or in order to pay him back. Now it's already put in the books. Okay. This is the third consecutive Benim that legislators in the House have attempted to reform the system for compensating those who have been wrongfully incarcerated. However, Republican opposition in the Senate, particularly from Senator Randy Robertson, Calumet, a Caluca Republican and former law enforcement officer, has repeatedly stalled these efforts. Under current Georgia law, those who have been wrongfully convicted must find a state representative who is willing to sponsor an individual compensation resolution for them and file a claim with Georgia Claims Advisory Board. Those resolutions then go through a full legislative process and must pass committees and floor votes in both House and Senate before they can take effect. But those efforts too have routinely died in the Senate in recent years. Okay, so that's a pretty lengthy process. So by them setting a standard, I guess it does away with all that. Wow, that's okay. That's a little streamlined. Again, I hate that this is actually happening, but at least it seems good. Robertson emphasized that he was still not fully on board with the legislation aimed at compensating the wrongfully convicted. He conceded that the current system was in need of reform in a speech on the final day of the 2025 legislative session. What I realize is that the process is not a good process, Robert said, but vowed to continue workshopping the wrongful conviction component of the bill after the 2025 legislative session concluded. I'm going to ask you today to support the senator from the 21st and vote for this legislation. And in the offseason, we'll tackle the other thing that's attached to it. And we'll come up with a process that works. He continued addressing his Senate colleagues. Support this bill, get it across, and I promise you the fight's not over. All right. Well, what is that going to do to Fani, though? What does that do to Fani? What's going to happen to Lady Harris? What's going to happen? Because if she gets disqualified and now Trump can come back and get reimbursed for all of his legal fees or for the hassle of this, that could be crazy. But I'd love to know what you think down in the below. Please let me know. I'll leave a link to this also in the pinned comments so you can check it out and read it for yourself. And if there's new updates, it'll be updated on there through the Yahoo News. But thank y'all so much for rocking with me. I appreciate you all not only supporting, not only watching the videos, but becoming subscribers and helping us hit our goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of April. I appreciate y'all so much. I'll see you all real soon. Until then, grace and peace.